when you're young, right, there's always the big kids. And obviously, as a big kid myself, it's weird. Because I remember being way back in like, I don't know how old I was, maybe like 3 or 4. And I remember being in Sunday school. And there was always this, we'd be combined with whatever the 1 year older than us was. So maybe it's 4 and 5. I don't really remember. Maybe it's 3 and 4. But there was like a divider that they would put up, and then they would have lesson time. And we would play games together, but there would be lesson time would be separate. And I remember when I got to move to the other side of the divider, I was like, whoa, I'm a big kid. That's crazy. And then I went to first grade, and all of a sudden we're in a different room entirely. And I'm like, wow, no, I really am a big kid. And then I was in second grade, and we were like off in another room, like, whoa. And then in that, or maybe we just transferred. I don't remember what happened there. Like maybe I was still in first grade. I was in a different room. Like, oh boy, this is a cool room. This is one of the big kid rooms for sure. But I do remember whatever grade that was, going to a different classroom because we were like maybe singing or something. I don't really remember, but we were getting together with other kids, which is normal. And now that I've been in like with younger kids, you see it all the time. But for me, these kids were like, whoa, that's like a third grade or something. And I remember being in kindergarten, and we had fifth grade buddies that were assigned to us at the beginning of the year, right? And I just thought he was the coolest guy ever, which is fifth grade. Like, and I will admit that probably fifth grade now is different from fifth grade then, because that was, way back when. And I still hold firm to the fact that kids today are worse than kids when I was a kid, but like, maybe that's just perspective. I don't know. But anyway, he was a fifth grader, and I was like, wow, well, that's a big kid. And because I was in like elementary school, obviously, the fifth graders were kind of the oldest kids there. So like, that's a big deal. And I guess, I don't really remember this. My mom has told me that we went to the zoo. And it was like supposed to be your buddy and you. And maybe like, I think it was like 2 fifth graders and 2 kids. Or maybe something like that. Like it was a group, it wasn't like just one-on-one, but it was like a group. But they didn't want parents to come. It's like, oh, we want other kids to have freedom. And my mom and like another guy's mom, they came and they watched us because they were like, no. And I'm sure that at the time, the fifth graders were like, this is lame. But thinking back, oh my word, fifth graders are terrible. Why were they putting them in charge of kindergartners? And like, I'm not saying you can't. I know fifth graders who are sweet and amazing, and they could totally take care of a kindergartner. Not by themselves. That's crazy. How old are fifth graders? Like 10? Like what? I don't really remember that. So that's crazy to me. But anyway, like as you get older though, the big kid is like different because then now you're in elementary school, and like the middle schoolers, like it's like, well, they're in 7th grade. Like that's crazy. And then you get to 7th grade, you're like, the high schoolers. Because I remember being in Awana, and I was probably like a first grader at the time. And obviously there was like the bigger kids, like like if you're familiar with Awana, it's like there's Sparks, which is kindergarten to 2nd grade, I think. And then there's TNT, which is like the older-ish kids in like 3rd to 5th, I think, 3rd to 6th. And like those kids were big. But then there was the high schoolers that would come in because they would have like youth group, I think, at the same time. And I'm like, oh, and like they were probably like 16, but I'm like, man, those are some big kids, and like they may as well have been adults, honestly, to me. And then I got to that point, I was like, oh. But then when I got into high school, I'm a freshman, and the bigger kids are upperclassmen. Even as a junior, like the seniors were just above me, and then I became a senior. That's insane. That's a whole thing where you're like, oh no, I am the big kid. And sure, there's the college students, which still like I do feel a little bit like college. Like some of the college people, I'm like, we're kind of the same age, but like there's like a little bit of a gap there, but it's small. It's not really the same. Like I'm like, oh, these are the kids I look up to. They're older than me, and that's so weird. And I don't know how to feel about it because like all of a sudden I'm reaching the point where like there are older people than me. Like, and I think like every 10 years is like you can see a gap, right? There's like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and like you can see like a gap. They're older, but it's not the same perception of like wow. And it's probably just because there's like a childhood wonder to like that is a big person, and you lose that as you get older. But it is weird that now like I am the big kid. I'm not the oldest kid like in my youth group or school or whatever. Like I'm not the oldest, but I'm close to it. And the people that are technically older than me are not that much older than me, and they feel the same age. So it is really weird to be at that point where it's like, oh, I guess everyone looks up to me. And, it's a bit of perspective where it's like, oh, now that I can think back and be like, I looked up at those kids like that. Maybe I should try to act in a way that that they would like look up to me and be like, that's a big kid. He's like really cool. Not that I'm cool, maybe to like a third grader. But yeah, it's just a weird perspective thing. And now I'm big and it's like a whole identity crisis now. Oh boy.